Dreamers Awake, Chapter 16. Matilda's room had been mostly undisturbed until Aunt Maggie unlocked the door and pushed it open. She stood aside and let Lydia peer in. "I've only come in to dust and tidy things up," Aunt Maggie said. Lydia almost asked what she would need to tidy up, but then remembered her aunt telling her about some of the things that had been going on. Books ending up on the floor, drawers flung open, clothes strewn everywhere, as if Matilda had gotten dressed in a hurry and gone out with her friends. As if she would be back in a few hours. Lydia cautiously entered the room and immediately felt a strange, unwelcoming feeling. It was chilly and damp, even though the sun filtered in through the half-closed Venetian blinds. "I don't think she wants me in here," Lydia said. Aunt Maggie stood with her hand resting on the doorknob. She paused before her reply. "I believe that you feel that way, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Why wouldn't she want you here?" Aunt Maggie asked. Only one reason popped into Lydia's brain. "Maybe she thinks I'm replacing her," Lydia said, "and she doesn't like it." "I guess so," Aunt Maggie said. "But if she remembers anything from her life, about who she was and what she meant to me, she'd know that could never, ever happen." Lydia felt momentarily stung by her Aunt Maggie's words. Why couldn't she be as good as Matilda? But the feeling passed when she thought of her relationship with her own mother and how hurt she would be if another took her place in her mother's heart. Not that it could happen now, she thought bitterly. She let the hurt feelings melt away. "I think I'd like to look around here a little if you don't mind," Lydia asked a bit shyly. "Sure, of course," Aunt Maggie said. "I'll go and read a bit, then make us some lunch." She went down the hall, leaving the door ajar. Now that she was alone, Lydia wasn't sure what she should do. She went and sat at the small desk. It was so organized. There were a few items on the surface, a lamp, a cup of pens and pencils, and a fat stack of Post-it notes. Lydia slid open a few drawers and found the usual desk essentials all meticulously organized within. Erasers, notepads, a stapler, paper clips, push pins, envelopes, all had their special place within the drawers. Lydia's desk in LA had been organized, but this went beyond any skills she had. She had had one drawer that was full of the miscellaneous and extra items that didn't seem to have one specific place they should be. She sat at the desk for a little while longer, opening and closing drawers. She found a journal, hesitated for a moment, then opened it and read a few entries. There was nothing of consequence. It sounded like any journal a young girl their age would keep. Although Lydia could tell how kind Matilda had been by reading it. There was no need to say nice things or give someone the benefit of the doubt when you were recording events in your private journal. And yet Matilda did. Although it was clear that Michelle exasperated Matilda to no end, she was also quick to remind her journal that Michelle had a difficult home life, had been in and out of foster homes, and so had trouble trusting people. Lydia thought about that for a little while, then replaced the journal and stood up from the desk. She went to her bookcase and ran her fingers over the well-worn spines of the books. There was one section that contained several yearbooks from school and 2 handmade scrapbooks. The second one was the most recent and incomplete. At the end, several pictures, movie stubs, brochures, and scrapbook pages sat, waiting to be added artistically to the ongoing project. Lydia thought they looked sad and incomplete there in their protective plastic sleeve. She flipped to the beginning of the scrapbook. Matilda stared up at her from the page. She stood with Tyler by a waterfall. He was kissing her cheek, and her face seemed to be lit by bright lights. The sky was cloudy, and they both wore raincoats and mud-splattered hiking boots, but they looked ecstatic. The caption in cute curling handwriting read, "My love and I hike Snoqualmie Falls." She continued through the book and found report cards with mostly A's, first place science fair ribbons, debate club pages, and much more. She put the scrapbook away and continued to search the room. In the closet, tucked away in a shoebox in the back, Lydia found a stash of notes. They were folded intricately, and it took her a little while to figure out how to open some of them. She read a few of the notes and immediately saw how much her friends loved her. Her loyalty was apparent in what her friends revealed to her. She was the one they had trusted implicitly. Lydia found herself really beginning to like her cousin, or half-sister, or whatever she was, and felt a deep regret at never being able to know her in person. She felt she really missed out on having a good friend, and her stomach twisted. How could such a sweet, loyal, well-adjusted girl be such a malevolent spirit? What could possibly make her so hostile to me? Lydia wondered. Of course, it did seem as if Lydia was taking her life, but she wasn't here anymore, and she wasn't trying to take her place in the lives of those she loved. She hoped that was clear, but obviously it wasn't. What Lydia really wanted was a normal life, as normal a life as she could hope for, at least.